Everyone, there's just going to be so much gorgeousness. Oh my God, and Angela. Oh, we got Brazil and Florida. Oh my God, so much, so much, so much. Okay, so let me go in and pull Elisha up. So we should get Elisha any minute now. I've got some angel music playing really quietly in the background. I did that last time. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Oh my God, it's Elisha. Woo!
Yay. Hi, I've been running.
Have you?
Yes, it's all good things though.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Oh my gosh, so it's just like, oh, thank you, darling. Yeah, I decided I've been wearing hats a lot lately, so I thought I'd show the crazy hair off today.
It's
so,
beautiful.
Thank you. And I'm a unicorn, as we can see. I very much take myself seriously, you know. So everything okay with you, my darling? You're all set?
Wonderful.
And everything?
Yes, it's gorgeous outside in California.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so where do we start? So first of all, guys, this is Elisha Bravo. That's it, we can see you now.
Okay, I'm trying to figure this out with my iPad. Okay.
Cool. And Elisha Bravo is my #1 master coach. She originally came into me as a client, but as a very advanced client. And now she is actually my master coach. There's two. She's #1 and Dana's #2. So I wanted everyone to meet her because, quite frankly, she's almost better than me at this coaching stuff. With me having so much going on with the community and everything, you know. So I want to check that everyone watching is, you know, in a nice peaceful place. They've had something to eat. They've got some water, notepad, pen. We've got some crystals. Just got my rose quartz here, singing bowl. Because today I'm going to do the biggest lesson I've ever done in my life. So I want to ensure we have the highest possible energy. Did it freeze?
No, I'm here. I'm good.
Oh, yeah. Okay, perfect. So I'm just going to hit the singing bowl. Okay. And let me grab my yeah, Elisha, you're not sitting where you are. You're almost like we see the shadow of you. We don't see the light on your face.
Okay, let me move.
And I'm just going to light this rosemary sage as well. I'm going to get it all.
Hold on.
Yeah. Will you upload? Sorry, I can't keep up for 1 second, guys. Let me get this lit so that I can get this smudging happening. And then we can dive in because I have so much to cover. It's insane.
Okay, let me just move over.
Okay. So we need to make sure we've got the highest possible happening, guys. Whew.
Much better?
It's a bit warm in this. Does anyone mind? I'm going to quickly pull off. Everyone saw it anyway. I'm a unicorn. There we are. I've got to take it off. Before I take it off, look at this though, guys. It has a horn.
Of course it does.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do my bowl so we're in alignment.
Perfect, please.
And this is the root chakra. This is grounding.
What we need right now, guys, and she's in California, so everyone in the community knows what we mean about that. Okay, so I think we're all settled. So I've done the little intro about Elisha. I want to get straight into this because we have so much to cover. Now, couple of things. I'm going to try. My angels have been in my ears for the last hour, and everything like that. So, first thing to know is when women come into my program, they do normally do like 9 lessons and they have like 9 items of homework. And this is like 20-30 hours of work. I am going to try and fit 20 to 30 hours of work into this 1 hour live. So wish me luck. I'm going to try my best, okay? But obviously there are limits. I can only do the best I can. The other thing that I want to start off with is explaining what does fully healed mean. There's so many people in the spiritual, you know, in the spiritual community, they're like, oh, healing's a process and blah. But hey, guys, if we're bringing in 5D New Earth, are we still going to be processing over there? Like, you know, let's be real. Why don't we just get this shit done now? Let's just get this shit out the way, and then we don't have to do it anymore. How's that? What's this? Sorry for asking again. Will you please upload on the live on your page? Yes, it's going to be on replay for 24 hours, darling. So you're all good. And so the thing is see that I'm just thrown off for a second. What was I saying, darling?
You were just talking about if we're moving on to the 5D world, are we still going to be stuck in processing?
Yeah. No, let's get this done. So let me explain what I mean by fully healed. Fully healed is when you have full control over your emotions. Fully healed is when you no longer experience negative emotions as your own. Your mind is peaceful. It's quiet. Your guidance is on fucking fire, like better than the GPS on your phone. And so that is what fully healed means. It means that you've quieted down the negative voice in your mind. You've removed its food. You've starved it. It's fallen asleep. When it wakes up, you know how to deal with it. And you don't let it impact your life anymore. And so that is what fully healed means. In case anyone needed any clarity, I am fully healed. Alicia's fully healed. All of my client graduates are fully healed. And it is totally possible. And again, we're not bringing this bullshit into 5D, guys. We are clearing this out now.
Amen.
Anything else you think we should say before we start? Because I'm thinking to just dive in, darling.
Yeah, no, I think you're good.
Yeah, okay.
I love the mug that matches your hair, that matches your...
Oh, girls, you have to see these slippers. Are you ready? Ah! Oh my God, they're a bit big, but they're my favorite thing in the world right now, apart from my dog. So, yeah. Okay. And I'm getting the boot versions. I'm waiting for them to arrive. They're Uggs new ones. Okay. So, this is how one heals one's self. For some reason, they wanted me to speak like the Queen of England. Maybe it's because I watched The Crown last night. Along with most of the coordinators. Anyway, the way that you get to this amazing place of inner peace, permanent happiness, fully healed, is through two things. It's two things, and it's always these two things. It's education and clearing. If you only have education, the ego gets clever. If you only have clearing, you will doubt the fact that it's worked, because you will not have the education to understand the enemy, to understand its traits and its abilities to wake up when you're tired, sick, or hungry. With just the clearing, you will doubt the amount of healing that you've actually done. So, education, clearing. First thing we're going to do is education. I recommend getting a pen and paper, guys. I am going to channel. I've no idea what I'm going to look like. I might look really weird. But if I do, guys, just listen to what I'm saying, because if I look weird, what I'm saying will be amazing. Okay, so the ego. And first of all, the clearing turns the education into knowledge. I could process that, but let me think. The education, yes. The key thing is that a lot of people are doing one or the other, and then they're wondering why it doesn't work. The key is that they have to happen simultaneously. And yes, I agree.
So today for church, that was the topic, that we live in an either or. Everything that our life is an either or, and that we are shifting into an and both. And that's the difference. So, and we know, and it coincides with each other. So that's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So the ego. Now I'm cold. What's going on here, guys? Sorry. I'm like, I think I'm about to channel. My angels are like, okay, put some clothes back on. You know, it's like, I don't know. Sorry, guys. Bear with me. With my horn head. There we go. Right. Hopefully I can settle down now, guys. Okay. So again, I might shut my eyes. I may be channeling. I may look like a weirdo, but if I do, it just means that I'm talking about shadow, the inner critic, imposter syndrome. It is the human condition. All humans. Oh, what's that? Have I lost? Of course, now I've lost Elisha as I'm in the middle of channeling. There we go. Luckily, I opened my eyes for a second.
I'm here.
I lost you. I had
Yeah.
my eyes shut and then
I
you're
know.
gone. Luckily, I
know.
opened them.
I didn't want to bother you, but you're good.
Okay. Ego, also known as the shadow, inner critic, imposter syndrome. It has many names, but it is the human condition. Every single person on earth has an ego. There are a number of people, particularly in the spiritual community, that talk about loving the protective instinct or killing the ego. I'm afraid I do not agree with either of them. As far as I'm concerned, and my guidance is pretty good. I'm known for quoting the Bible without ever actually having really read it. So, I mean, my guidance is pretty damn clear. And the guidance I get is that the ego is the enemy. And I will go into more detail about that. And that you need to know the enemy. Know it. Don't ignore it. Don't be in denial about it. Know it. Know its techniques. Know its ploys. Know what it's trying to do in your life. So, my angel just said I'm running ahead of myself and to turn the angel music down. Hold on. They said they like it, but not when I'm channeling. Okay, so the human condition. So again, nobody can say they don't have this, okay? I'm fully healed. I still have it. Alicia's fully healed. She still has it. We know it's there. It's just the difference is, imagine like a wrestler. Instead of being this big, scary wrestler, it's this big wrestler that's now eyes are cross-eyed, it's stumbling around. Someone's put some anesthetic in him and he's like, "Ugh." He's not really that scary anymore. He's like, "Ugh." That's what our egos are like. They've been put under control. So that, you know, sometimes I say that mine's like in the corner, just like this, you know. Doesn't mean it doesn't try and wake up sometimes. It just doesn't stand a chance of having any control over me. Anyway, so it is the human condition. It is born from thoughts of separation from God. We have free will. We do not have to be in unification with God. We can choose not to be, and in which case, here pops up the ego. The ego can only live in the present. The ego can only live in the future and in the past. Normally worrying about what will happen in the future or feeling guilt or shame about the past. The ego cannot live in the present. So being in the present is the best place to be. So I'm being told the reason why I'm doing this, in case anyone's just joined us, is the education process is what's important. I'm kind of going to go backwards and forwards. Would you remind me, Elisha, once I've done most of ego, to tell them actually what the homework is we normally give clients? You know, when I first talk to them before they start the lessons, because obviously my angels just reminded me about that. Would you remind me, darling?
Sure.
Okay. So how do we identify the ego? The ego shouts, it's loud, it changes its mind, it can't keep a consistent thought. So what it will do is this, and you may want to play this back and rewind it and get this written exactly. This is what the ego likes to do. It likes to say words that create a vision. The vision it creates a feeling, and the vision it could show is maybe you not being invited to a party or some man doing something to you in the past or something, but it shows you, it says words that create a vision that then create an emotion, and that emotion makes you feel bad. Guess what the ego lives on? Guess what its favorite food is? You tell him, Elisha.
You know, it's interesting that you're saying this right now about the ego and the influence of it is even the radio. I even shield what I listen to because the ego can get fed by a memory that you're talking about, anger, shame, guilt, all these things that it gives food, because a memory is tied to a song that's then triggered that then gives you, right? So even the influence of what you're around, you don't want to feed it. You want to starve it.
Yeah. And so that's the thing. The ego, its favorite food is negative emotions, anger, fear, guilt, shame. These negative emotions is what it lives on. It's food, it's fuel. And so, as I explained, the ego is, it's almost like this, guys. It's like really having an angel on one shoulder and the devil on the other. It really is like that, because the direct opposite of the ego is the higher self. The higher self is the direct connection to source. Higher self wants you to live the most abundant, beautiful life. It really has, it loves you. It just wants you to feel happy and at peace. The problem with the higher self is it's quiet. It's gentle. It repeats itself exactly. You will hear the same words. When you hear the exact same words, that's your higher self trying to gently nudge you. When you hear this passionate voice that can't decide what it wants, it just knows it wants you to feel something, that's your ego. Okay? So the thing to know, guys, is neither of these voices are your own. You are the silent observer in your mind. You are the silent observer. And so when you have a thought, it is either ego or higher self, and they both have access to your memory banks. So if you pull up a memory and it's a good one, it makes you feel great, guess who's doing that? Higher self. Pull something up, makes you feel like shit, guess what that is? Ego. We have to be able to identify it. Now here's the thing. A lot of people think that this is all down to controlling your mind. All these books, all these therapists, all these coaches, oh, just control your mind, think positive, blah, blah. It's almost fucking impossible, guys. So here's what you have to do. You have to weaken the ego. Weaken it. Starve it. So to such an extent that it's actually now a bit more easy to control. Now, controlling it, it's kind of effortless. It's not that hard. So, how do we starve it? A lot of these negative emotions, anger, fear, guilt, shame, all of these negative emotions, they are living in your subconscious. You're not even aware they're there anymore. Some of it you were actually born with. Because here's the thing, you were born with the ego. You actually inherited it from your parents. And it's the stuff that their parents before them hadn't dealt with. This is ancestral. And then, so you're born with this ego. No wonder you think it's yours. No wonder you think it's you. It's been there since the day you opened your eyes. But it's actually not you. And so, the ego has been with you, and then it grows stronger as you experience other negative things along your path in your childhood, in your adulthood. So to clear away some of the strength of your ego, we have to do a very special process. Elisha, would you like to explain to everybody what forgiveness is not? Because forgiveness is probably the most misunderstood word in human language.
Yeah, so forgiveness is one of, like you said, one of the most misunderstood words. And I liked when you said the human language. It's very important for you to know what forgiveness is not. That was probably one of my most resistance after 10 years of self-development, was actually getting to the other side of it completely, because we talked about you can't over-forgive, but you definitely don't want to under-forgive. And I kind of feel that's what happens when you're talking about people doing other work. It's you stay in it, right? Because unless you do it completely from the root, it's just always going to linger. Those seeds will then repopulate like a weed in your life. And so it's very it's very important for you to understand what forgiveness is not. So forgiveness does not mean that what they said or did was okay. First and foremost, does not mean that. It does not mean that you're letting them off the hook for what they've done or said to you. It does not mean that you reconnect with this person. It's very huge. People have this thing where I say it's none of their business. Forgiveness for them is none of their business. That's my opinion. It's not for you to go back and have them back in your life. You had called it self-love, but I think it's the ultimate gift of self-love. Like ultimate is the word that comes to me, is that forgiveness, because it's for you and it really has nothing to do with them. There's just in our coaching we've experienced, we've actually cleared some major traumas in people's life, things that are unfathomable that you would think that they would never be able to heal from. And so to be able to get to that side and know that forgiveness is there, but you still don't have to have Thanksgiving dinner with these people. You still don't have to be sitting down acting like everything's okay when it's not, but yet you can still be not reacted to it, right? There's not something in your daily life that those seeds are swaying you one way or the other, but forgiveness is complete and it's yours to have, which is super important.
Yeah, and you don't have to tell them that they're forgiven.
Nope, none of their business.
Tell them. But here's the thing, I just got a question, and I think that this is important that this has come up. Somebody said, what about people that have gone through severe trauma? I'm going to do a little checklist, and I don't want anyone to go into shock. I completely understand if you never experienced any of these things. Just a little checklist of some of the trauma we've cleared from some of our clients. In fact, would you like to start with your own, Elisha, just to give them a nice, good start on that? And we'll just run through this quickly, but this is important in case people are like, oh, this is fine for people that have had wonderful lives. What about the people that have gone through some serious shit?
Yeah, so my father actually had 11 kids with 3 wives. And then when I found out more, there's actually 2 with the first cousin, which is really disgusting. So he's up to 13. And he was an actual child molester. So he actually went to jail as a pedophile and hurt some people in our family really tremendously. And so when I met Amelia, I was like, oh no, we're good. Like, I've dealt with that. You know, I've been doing this for 10 years. Like, I'm clear. And she's like, no, you're fucking not. Now let's really deal with this. I mean, literally, but she had to speak to my ego that way because it was like, no, I'm good. Like, we're done, you know? And she's like, no, really, honey, we're not. And it was really getting to the seeds of those depths that really then helped me to be able to help other clients and coach people through their own hurts and violations that really are extreme, from parents hurting you all the way to the other side. So the spectrum is very wide of what we deal with.
I mean, we commonly deal with sexual abuse, physical abuse, severe domestic violence that almost ends death, verbal abuse, mothers that have tried to kill their daughter, women raped by their father. I know it's pretty out there. We've dealt with some pretty serious stuff. Let's just say that, guys. Yeah. So, saying that, forgiveness is for everyone. But remember, what you just heard Elisha say, it does not mean what they did was okay. It does not mean you're letting them off the hook. It does not mean that you reconnect with them. And it does not mean that you let them know that they are forgiven. Are we clear, guys? Everyone clear on that? This is forgiveness for you to remove the negative emotions in your subconscious so your ego stops fucking with you. That's why I'm doing this. Okay.
And I'll take it a step further because I am certified as a cancer project chef and I have been working with cancer patients for 10 years. And I will tell you, cancer is so personal that it is rooted by the ego of anger, shame, and guilt. And wherever it shows up in the body will tell you the origination of it. So for women with breast cancer, they have issues with their mom. When I literally, every single time out of 10 years, when I say, what's your relationship with your mom? They will literally say, I love my mom. It's not about that. It's not about love or not love or hate or anger. It's what did you grow up with? What are things that happened when you were younger? Let's go back from your earliest memory. I have a client that said, you know, her mom pulled up to a house and told her to get out and knock on their door and see if they'd take her because she was misbehaving. And I think she was like 3 or 4. It was her youngest memory. Very traumatic, right? So she lived a life feeling isolated and not wanted. You know, there's just different things that have happened that people don't realize that were really shocking, that took root. And we just go in there and we do a deep cleaning. We clear all of it.
We clear everything out. We clear everything out. So here, back to how we do this in the now. So do you think there's any major key bits that I've missed out on ego?
No, you covered it. It's good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
So I was kind of going,
no, you covered the parents, you covered the ancestral stuff, and what its forgiveness is not. So that's all good, and what its food is. And, you know, also you want to cover what the ultimate goal of the ego is.
Yes, perfect. Thank you. So sorry to rain on anyone's parade here, but I'm going to say this is a fact because I believe it to be so, and it's my opinion, and that's what you guys have asked for. So in my opinion, the ego has one goal: full self-destruction. Full self-destruction. And what's that typically, Elisha?
Suicide.
Suicide. So when you hear of someone committing suicide, it's because their ego actually got its way. Why would it want to kill its vessel? Who knows? It's born from thoughts of separation from God. It likes destruction. Why do people that are not very nice like chaos? Why do they like to hurt people? I don't spend too much time trying to figure out those people these days. So, sorry, I keep getting, when I read messages, I get distracted because I want to try, it's a bit confusing. Sorry, guys, because I'm kind of channeling while at the same time talking with Elisha and then reading your messages. I'm like, oh. So, Elisha, can I leave you with the messages?
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I'm not seeing any questions. Yep.
Because I will lose myself otherwise. Where was I?
We're talking about the ultimate
yeah.
ego.
So the ultimate goal of the ego is suicide. So when I say that the ego is trying to ruin your life, I actually mean it is. Now, for anyone who caught my original live that I did, where I told the story about myself and my twin, and basically I acted like a complete fucking idiot. He offered me the whole world. I said no. I had no reason to say no. I broke my own heart, created my own destruction. But it was a good thing, and I'll tell you why. Because I sat there one day and was like, oh my God. There is something in this head that is trying to destroy my life. Now, at this point, I'd already done over 1,000 books worth of study. But I said to myself, I need to figure out what this thing is, where it came from, and how the fuck to get rid of it. I soon found that its name was the ego. I read a book, which was the very first thing in this sort of area, A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. She has a great description of the ego too. Me and her work is very much in alignment. I recommend it. It's on the list. It's actually required reading in my program. And so I felt so bad that I was determined to figure out what this thing was. And so I studied the dark. I studied darkness. I studied what the fuck this thing was. I studied everything. I studied it all the way. So I got to the end where I was like, right, now I understand what you lot are up to. Then I went all the way this way to the light. And then from there, I had a balanced view of everything. And that is why that's why I've been able to master the ego within myself, and have now actually reached the point where I have over 13 graduates that are at the highest advanced level like myself, and then obviously numerous clients around the world. So please know that ego is not your friend. And there are some significant people with 200,000 plus followers, spiritual blah de blah people that will tell you love it and love. Yeah, it's trying to destroy you. So we need to starve it by getting rid of the negative emotions so that we can stay in a positive place, hear our intuition, our higher self, our connection to God, and guide ourselves to the life of our dreams. So let's be clear, guys. This is not something that you want to keep. Do we have any questions?
No, not yet. We're talking about some things about cancer. I can always do that privately, but one of the gals had said her grandma was abandoned by her mom and she had breast cancer. And they were asking about sexual traumas. And then one of the gals had said that a friend of hers committed suicide, and they're arguing with him as of why, that I'm more worthy dead than alive. And then a gal just said that she actually tried to take her life the other day, but her higher self intervened. And we have some other people.
That wasn't you. It wasn't you.
Yeah.
It wasn't you. All that happened is that you have these two voices in your head. And at the moment, you think that is you. I'm telling you, you are the silent observer. That is ego. That's higher self. You need to be able to clearly distinct between the two. The only way to do that is to do the clearing work.
I've been through, I can't even tell you, and I have, my life story will come out one day, but I am one of the strongest women you'll ever meet. And I needed a coach, right? And I've done this work for 10 years. And so everybody I've coached, man and woman, I've done the alpha male ego. I went for it at a very high level, and everybody hits a wall. We're talking just how hard you hit it and how fast you're going. But in this work, everybody hits a retaining wall in a semi truck. Things will come up with work. Things will come up with family. I've had someone create bronchitis, pneumonia. They'll get anything they'll sleep through their alarm. you think of whatever, happens, and your ego is it's just as clever as you are, right?
That's it.
So I had a gal, it was really funny. She had done part of the homework and she literally stopped and she said, okay, that was too fucking easy. Let me go back and do it again. Because she knew that her ego was like, oh yeah, you're good. We got this done. Next. Right? And she was like, yeah, probably not. And she laughed about it. But this is part of the tools that you'll take for life. This is something that you can go back to and always have that knowledge and information to keep everything at bay and in balance in your life, which is huge. It's priceless. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a great gift.
And the thing is, I can't state enough, the ego is an extremely intelligent, self-protective entity. So it will protect itself. It will. I mean, it's quite common in the first 2 weeks of working with myself or Elisha for your ego to have a full-on shit fit. Yeah. Really. It's like a hungry child that doesn't want to go to bed and you are forcing it to go to sleep. It's like, no. And you're like, yes. It is it can be a bit interesting. But once it's gone to bed, it's quiet. It's peaceful, What about ego being cunning enough to disguise itself as consciousness? How do you recognize? So the thing is this goes back to the basics again. So are you tired, sick, or hungry? If you are, the chances are your ego's talking. So in which case, tired, go to sleep. Sick, rest. Hungry, eat. And not just sugar. Have something with some carbs and protein, whatever, That's the first checklist. Tired, sick, or hungry. Because it loves weakness. When the physical body is weak, then that's when the ego has the most chance. Most of the bad shit that happens in this world is because someone's tired, sick, or hungry. For real. Low blood sugar, bad tempered, bitchy comments. Most relationships break up because one of you was tired, sick, or hungry, and you said the wrong thing at the wrong time. Me and my twin, I was tired, sick, and hungry all at once. So, so that's the first thing. The second thing is, are you in the present? Is it making you worry about the future, or is it making you think about the past with guilt? If it's doing the future or the past and it makes you feel bad, it's ego. And you can chime in, Elisha, you know all the same things as me.
Well, one of the examples that I gave that was pretty funny that people can resonate, because some people, you do have a great following on here that people are very well versed in this world. But for people who have no idea what we're talking about and you just stumbled across this page, let me just give you an example that everyone can resonate. So we all have free will, right? So God give us free will. So free will looks like there's a big cupcake and you want to eat it. And your higher self says, don't eat it. And you hear the ego say, but you deserved it. And you hear, don't eat it. But it's my cheat day. Don't eat it. But you already worked out today. Don't eat it. Do you understand? The ego is going to change its way of convincing you different every time. The higher self will repeat itself. Okay, then what do we do? What do? We eat the fucking cupcake. Why? Because our free will tells us that we deserved it. Here's the thing. If you're going to eat the cupcake, then don't complain about when you get on the scale. Do you understand? Because you can't have both, right? It's the either or we were talking about. So you're either going to listen to higher self and you're going to overcome it and say, no, I don't need it. Or you're going to wait and say, I'll wait for my birthday or I'll wait for a holiday, right? It's like we talked about this. So things where we have balance. Even one of the things that we gave up that we talk about our clients going through the program is pork, not eating pork. People go, what does that mean? What does that have to do with anything, right? We say alcohol. It doesn't matter if you drink as long as there's not an issue of addiction. We just don't want you drinking before our lesson, during our lesson, or doing homework. So there's guidelines that we have in place because your ego is triggered and it's able to come in different ways of weakness. So we try to avoid those things.
Yeah. Pork is definitely something to avoid on the journey. And if you book a call with us, we can explain that in more detail. And please,
someone said if it's a vegan cupcake, I'm eating it. That's awesome.
But the thing is, guys, as well, that wasn't literal about the cake. It's about anything. It's about the car, the man, the anything. It's the fact that the higher self will whisper. It will sound bored. It will be quiet. It's real cool. The higher self's like this. Nada love. Do this, do this, do this, do this. It's not like, yes, that's right. Yes, pork is close to human. Yeah. So the higher self will sound real bored and calm, whereas the ego will sound passionate. real passionate. Be like, yeah, well, you should eat that. Well, you deserve it. It's got this passion behind it. Trust me, high self sounds like this. You shouldn't. You shouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't. Doesn't sound particularly excited about the advice it's giving you. It's just, you shouldn't. Whereas the ego's like, yeah, go on then. What about this? And then guess what? The ego knows everything about your life. You inherited it from your parents. Everything your mum ever said to you to make you feel bad, it's going to repeat them words in your ear now. Everything your dad ever did, anything your ex-boyfriend ever did, it's going to use everything it can possibly. It's got everything. It's got storage of all your memory banks. It's going to use everything it's fucking got to get you off track. So, are we all clear that this thing is the enemy? This thing is the enemy. It needs to be starved. It needs to be put in a corner, put to sleep. And you need to be aware when it wakes up. You need to be aware when it wakes up is when you're tired, sick, or hungry. Anything else you're thinking, darling?
No, I'm just reading some of these. Apparently we share DNA with pork.
Yep.
So she can't stop laughing.
Yeah, we certainly do. So your body actually responds as if you've been doing cannibalism. So yeah, you might not want to eat that because we'll increase the amount of fear and anger in your body. And at the time, we're trying to reduce that, aren't we, guys?
Yeah.
So let me just go through the homework that we give people before they start the program with us. And then if you do end up working with us, then hey, you're a step ahead. First thing, you buy A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. Next thing you do is we get you to download the affirmations track, the free affirmation track that's on my website. Download that, listen to it twice a day. What else?
For the original homework?
Just what do we, I'm just trying to make sure. And do a vision board. Be clear about what you want your future to look like. If you don't know what you're looking for, how the fuck are you going to know when it arrives? How are you going to make the good decisions to get there in the first place? And is it really just your ego trying to keep you distracted and keep you in a place of, oh, I don't have what I want? And it's like, well, what do you want? Well, I don't know. I mean, come on, guys. Let's get it together. Let's be really clear. Let's be really clear. What do we want? Where do we want to live? What do we want in our life? You know? So I have a very specific structure that I've perfected whereby I get the vision board first up front with them ordering the book and getting the affirmations track, getting themselves ready. And then once they've done the vision board, we start the clearing work. And when they're doing the clearing work, they can look at their vision board, but they're not to work on it. Why? Because that was focused on the future in a positive. And then we're doing clearing in the past, but from a positive. So because we're doing this stuff where we're treading into the ego's territory, let's make sure that we're focused, that we focus on one thing at a time. So that's what we do. So we do future. This is why we're going to put ourselves through the hell of clearing out all the shit. Let's get a clear idea of where we want to be. And then we look at it each day, getting on with our forgiveness work and clearing our past. And then as we move into the present, then we go into the future, and then we get really, really clear on the future and how we actually manifest it and take physical steps to actually bring it in, you know? There's so many people out there that want to go and do a course about manifesting and all this. And I'm like, honey, if you ain't cleared out all the shit, this manifesting stuff's not really going to happen. You got to clear first. You got to do the hard bit first. You got to do the bit you don't want to do. In fact, my mentor said to me, I have a business mentor, he said, if there's something that you need to do and you're getting the urge to do something else, whenever you get the urge to do something else, that's a sign that you need to do the thing that it's trying to distract you from. So just get that together a minute. So when you first come, if people, when they first work with us, they, their minds come up with everything on the planet to stop them doing the homework, doesn't it, Elisha? Oh, yes. My God. Woo! We've had some of the best ones. Well, I just, ran into my ex-boyfriend and it just kind of threw me off. So then I just thought I wouldn't do that work right now. And, I don't have anyone I need to forgive. And then they end up having 17 people. I mean, it's like, oh, my God, This just changed my whole life. It was the next step in clearing everything. I didn't know my ego has been controlling me. Now I'm in full ultimate control. Here's the thing, really important. You've just been educated. You haven't done the clearing part that has to go with it. So you're feeling enlightened now and you're feeling buoyant, and that's wonderful and I love it. But please know your ego has absorbed this knowledge and the starvation of it needs to take place for you to actually get a permanent result.
She said, I'm almost done with the homework. I just wish my forgiveness list didn't keep growing, LOL. That's why you got to do it in one go. It's not an ongoing list.
Yeah,
so we always can add later. Yes.
Yeah, we have a really strict structure, and that's why, like I said, I want to give you guys everything I can in this, you know. I'm just trying, but the problem is, you know, it took me 20,000 hours. It took me 15 years. These ladies have done over 30 hours one-on-one with me to get to where they are. You know, how much can I do in a live? I can do as much as I can. But again, you can book a free call with us. And, you know, if you book it today, you could be on the phone with us before the end of the month. And if you actually started doing the program, you could finish it by the end of the year. And you could go into the year 2020 fully at peace, fully cleared.
I do. I have some graduates that are so excited. That's the ultimate Christmas gift they're giving themselves to go into the new year. It's really exciting.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the thing, guys, you know, where we got split up. I have to hope that the other one went on to stories, because it said, do you want to add to stories? So fingers crossed, you know. But I think this is key. I know a lot of you are having light bulb moments, a lot of you, because what I'm telling you guys is the truth. Remember this, you are all ascended masters. We're just all at different states of remembrance. I just happen to have remembered the most with regards to the ego. So understand this, you know, no one is more further ahead than anyone else in terms of who we are as souls and as spirits. We are all ascended, you know, we are all ascended masters, but we're all waking up at different times. We're all remembering at different rates, you know. And so this information, remember what I said at the beginning, education, clearing. This is the education process. This isn't the clearing process.
Right.
At the moment, if the education happens on its own, the ego just gets cleverer. It's clever. If you have a high IQ, so does your ego. Like, and most of my clients are really intelligent women. I'm talking like lawyers and doctors and running accounting companies and directors of businesses and psychiatrists and oh my God, you know. So can you imagine what their egos are like? One of my clients' egos actually makes me laugh, right? And she won't mind me saying this, but I won't say who it is. But her ego works by just making her go on vacation all the time. She's very successful, and so she just goes on loads of these vacations that she we missed off the key thing. Ego is logical.
Yes.
It's logical, guys. It's logical. Well, logically, you should eat the cupcake because you haven't had one for 6 months. So logically, it's very logical. See, it almost has this, like, talks to you like it's like an old man professor. Well, logically, you know, you should break up with him because, you know, it's logical. Guess what? Sometimes things can be logical, which means on first hearing, they make sense. Go back and double check that shit. Something my ego tried to do to me. My ego, you have to almost feel sorry for it. it's just been beaten to shit. But my ego, something it tried to do early this summer, I heard it try and talk to me. It tried to show me a vision of something that I wasn't going to get to do. And it was trying to make me feel bad because I wasn't going to get to go to the fireworks at the lake or something. It was like, you're not going to get to go. You're not going to get to go. And eventually I stopped and looked at it. I was like, first of all, I don't bloody want to go. Second of all, I'm not even available that day. So do you understand that it was saying it to get me to feel sad and rejected? And in fact, I couldn't even have gone and I didn't want to. So again, you have to second guess your thoughts. You have to become the silent observer. You have to really get clear on what's going on. But again, don't just try and educate this shit away. You need to do the clearing. You have to go up in there and go and visit all the stuff you don't want to look at, all the worst things you've ever done in your life, all the worst things anyone's ever done to you. And then you have to forgive them with absolute pure love and healing. I mean, this is not easy shit. It's not. But if you do it, your life will change forever. And once this stuff's gone, it's gone forever. It's gone. It's gone. Pretty much, wouldn't you say, Elisha?
Absolutely. It's interesting because I just had something happen with my family last week, and my mom called me to give me feedback. And I always say you should be willing to take in feedback for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? It's just once your ego's healed, right? So she's giving me feedback, and I'm listening. And I checked in with myself, right? Because it's a self-awareness. You check in. And I said, Mom, I love you. And I appreciate you. And I understand what you're saying. And if we hung up and I had the choice right now to do it again, I would. Because there was no regret. I knew what I was doing was not out of ego, it was out of higher self. And I knew it's what needed to be done. And therefore I would do it again without hesitation.
And here's the thing. You got your ego from your mum. So in which case, the chances are that it was actually ego in her. Now, remember this. The person that's lower vibration in the relationship, they're often controlled by the ego. The darkness on the outside controls the darkness on the inside to try and lower the vibration of the higher vibration person. So this is why if you want to go for a tarot reading or something, you make sure you go to someone like Danny, someone who's really high vibration, because if you go to someone low vibration, you are probably going to be told information that will take you off track. Another key thing, write down a list of all the people that you spend the most time with in your life, and then identify which one of those feels like an angel. Is it 1, 2, God, 3? You're very lucky if you got 3. You're lucky if you got 1. Work out who feels like an angel, and then work out who's toxic. Put a circle around the ones that are angels, put a line through the ones that are toxic, and then put a question mark by all the ones that are neutral. Then go down beside each name and write down from 0 to 10. If 10 is the highest and happy and 1 is the lowest and depressed, write a number for each one of their vibrational level. Have a look at that. Write that down for each one. Then write down what your current vibrational number is. Write down what you want your vibrational number to be. Now, it may sound obvious, but now you need to realize that if you're with anyone that's more than 1 or 2 points lower than you, then they are going to directly affect your vibration. And so you will genuinely need to do a bit of a clear out in your life and create that vacuum. Be comfortable in the vacuum, because that vacuum is going to suck in a whole new load of high vibration people that will change your life. You know?
Yep.
So again, you got to do the tough stuff. It's when we actually do things different and do things that feel uncomfortable and move through that zone, that's when you heal. That's what healing is. It's not like going to the gym and just going on the treadmill. It's like going through the bloody storm and lightning and going, I don't care, I'm doing it, because I just know the other side will look better, you know? Do you just cut cords, or you tell them to go? So luckily, the trash normally takes itself out, I've found. And then it normally appears about 3 months later saying, I'd love to meet up for a drink. And then you just simply don't respond because it's been 3 months. So quite often the trash takes itself out. Now, toxic family members, you kind of need a coaching call for us to really be able to... We have a way. It's okay if you have one family member that's toxic and you need to keep them in your life. You're allowed to choose one, and we will help you know how to deal with them. It's quite a... Should we tell them real quick?
Well, I think it's just a different interaction. So someone said, what if the toxic negative person is your mother and she lives with you? So, yeah.
And are you an adult? If you're an
Yes,
adult, then
an adult.
Make some money and get an apartment. And because you're not good, you know, your ego came from her, their vibration's low, they're toxic. You got to love yourself enough to be like, I need an apartment. I need an apartment. I need a roommate. I need to go visit Uncle Sam in Alabama. Whatever it is you need to do, you got to love you. The fact is, sorry, I was just going to say, you're here, which means you're an earth angel, which means you're an ascended master, which means you're here to change and save the world. So it's not about the individual. It's not about what your mum thinks about it. It's the fact that you need to thrive. You need to thrive and live, because you need to thrive and live. And she's in my house, LOL. So if it's that they're in your house, so they're visiting with you, well, they need to find somewhere else for her to be, because you can't sacrifice your own life, you know.
Yeah, and
but
part of the coaching that we teach after the healing is how to engage and how to be able to interact with those people in your life. Because some of them are avoidable. Another question is marijuana God's grass or devil's lettuce?
Okay, so I have a very clear opinion on this, guys. When you are doing the program, if you're with us doing the program during that 6 weeks, I don't want you smoking weed, because this is coming from someone that was high for 3 years. From 2002 to 2005, I was high. So I was like one of those people, I was like Bob Marley, okay? So I know about weed. This isn't coming from someone that's got a stick up their butt. I was that girl walking down the street, smoking weed on the way to work every day. Like, that was me, okay? And I worked for a fashion designer. I'll tell you a funny story just to let you know how much I know about weed. At the time, this is again, early 2000s, I quit cigarettes. And I said to the fashion designer I was working for, I said, I've quit cigarettes, I'm just going to smoke weed. And after 3 days, he said, Amelia, I think you should start smoking cigarettes again. I said, why? And he said, well, because you're just too damn high. So yeah, so again, it's important that I say that, because when people want advice about weed, it's important that you take it from someone who knows what the fuck they're talking about. I do, clearly. It was just it was another moon ago. It was 2003. So what's that, 15 years ago? You know, I could have had like a teenage son from back then, you know. Anyway, so weed, I say not while you're doing the program, because what weed does is it makes you feel like everything's okay. And we need to face the bad shit so we can clear it out. Now, if you have done all of the healing, I mean, you've done all of it. You abstained from weed during this healing process. You cleared everything. You faced everything. You really, really faced it all. And then you feel like partaking some on a beach in Jamaica on a Sunday afternoon. That's cool. But you shouldn't feel the need for it anymore, because when you have inner peace, it's the natural high. The same high that people feel when they're high on weed, that's the high that me and Elisha wake up with. That's the high that we go to sleep with. You don't feel any negative emotions, which is the same thing that weed gives you. You see what I'm saying? So
that was what I was going to say, is I think weed is amazing for healing properties with my cancer patients, people that are in pain. I think THC and CBD products are fantastic. So I'm all on board with natural remedies. But if you're doing it daily, just as recreational, that's something that we're able to heal you from, that you're just able to do it for fun on the weekends or whenever you choose to, but not something that you have to live with. Because I know people that can't function without it, and that's just a different thing.
I just want to catch this one. How do you tell the difference between when an angel or guide is speaking to you versus higher self or ego? So, me personally, everyone knows my angels don't bloody stop. I was saying to the lady that runs Twin Flames Guide, me and her were messaging, and I literally said to her, I was like, my angels don't have a mute button. Like, they woke me up 2 nights ago at 1:30 in the morning just to leave a message for Elisha. You know, they do not stop. So how do I know the difference? This is a good question, because obviously the way my life is now, it's so connected together. I think that most of the time these days, my higher self is just working with the angels. I think that's the answer. But I think I'm slightly different in that this is all I do. I do nothing else. I get in an Uber, go to the gym, come back. I'm on the phone with clients. I'm talking with Danny. This is all I do. I mean, look at this hair. Like, no normal person could walk around with this. I mean, I don't have anyone to answer to. So it's like, I'll do what I want, you know? So it's different because I've really healed. And my intuition has reached that on fire stage where it almost doesn't matter. Does that make sense, Elisha? It almost doesn't matter whether it was my higher self or my angels. Either way, it's working towards taking me to a heavenly life. And they know now that obviously I'm working as a leader, which actually means I'm working as a servant, which means I'm here to serve everybody. So as long as everything they tell me to do is serving everybody, then that's all that matters, you know?
Yeah, so we have one that's from Justin that says, love what you're doing. We'll connect soon. Wanted to drop in.
Oh, my God, it's the first king. My angels told me one of you was going to show up. Ah! Okay, everybody stop and say hi to Justin. Everyone yes, everyone stop and say hi. The girls, I've gone all hot. My angels told me an hour.
Hot.
No, but my angels told me an hour ago. They said one of the kings is going to show up. Now, everyone that's in the Divine Feminines community, the Divine Feminines UK 111 community, you all know what the fuck I mean. This is big, okay? Yeah. So, yay. I'm so excited. So, yes, can everyone say hi to Justin? We really appreciate you being here. And it's working, guys. We're bringing in the new earth. We're going to change the world. It's going to be us. Woo, woo. Okay, so I'll calm down now. So, yeah, that was hot that was spiritually hot. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, you know, like my twin contacting me hot. It was more like, fuck, And so, you know, when when my angels told me that one of the kings was going to pop up in the live, was that my higher self or was that my angels? Who gives a shit? Because it was either of them. They're just good. They're God. Like, you know, so we almost don't need to know. What you need to know is how to identify ego. Are you tired, sick, or hungry? Is it referring to...
He just said, love what you're all doing. That's really sweet.
Yay! Hi, King! Can everyone say hi to him? I just need to see loads of messages and love hearts for him, because the girls in the movement know this is the first king to show up. This is the first one. Yes, hearts. They're coming, guys. They're coming. Woo! Okay, I'll try and calm down. My dog's looking at me like I'm a weirdo. You want to climb up here, Boo-Boo? Come on. Come on. Come up. Oh, my God, my dog's looking at me like I'm insane. Come on. Come on, Boo-Boo. Can you jump on this bed? He's looking at me like, now he's looking at me like he really wants to go on the bed. Come on, silly boy. Come on. Oh, I give up. I give up. He's got a purple head like me as well at the moment. Come here. Come here. Let me show them your purple head. Come. Oh, no, he's running away. I give up. Okay. So the most important thing is to identify the ego. Don't worry about whether it's higher self or guides or angels. You know, that all comes later. Get the because remember, I didn't have these powers. I didn't have this ability to channel source and Ra and angels 24 hours a day. But when I still had ego, it's just that I've had no ego since 2011. So, you know, it takes a minute. Now, I'm not saying it'll take you that long. It won't. Where we are in the universe currently, the energies on Earth, shit, this stuff can happen by the end of the year. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. So, exciting, exciting. Anything you want to cover? Any other questions? I really want to show you my dog now. I'm going to try unplugging my headset so I can... Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, I just want to show you guys his hair. Go on then, let's show them you. Let's show them you, Boo-Boo. Let's show them you. Everyone want to see what Boo-Boo look like? Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Stop.
Look at the Boo-Boo. Yeah. Mama's love. Yeah. So, yeah,
oh my gosh.
Guys, we're not going to worry about whether it's angels or guides at this stage. Let's get the ego sorted out. Let's focus on the enemy. Almost the ego. To give you an example of how clever the ego is, and it worries me how intelligent you guys all are. So your egos are good. Like literally, I have to use my intelligence to be able to figure out what you guys' egos are doing most of the time. That's what we do as coaches. Me and Elisha are not normal coaches. We literally figure out what your ego is trying to do to destroy your life so that we can get a grip on it and starve it. That's what we do. So we're not like the life coaches that go, hey, you're beautiful. Let's be confident.
I say that I will call you out on your shit, but it'll always be rooted in love. Always.
Yeah, yeah. I say I will heal you, but it will hurt. But, you know. But saying that, I'm starting to get such advanced women like Danny, that they actually find the healing process fun. They find it like amazing. They're like, if you can find healing in me, oh my God, that would be great. Like they're so excited, you know? It's like, so the women I'm getting these days are so advanced that they're literally like, you mean this is going to be hard? You mean I'm going to have to face some shit? I don't want to. Hell yeah, please. When? Now, you know? But that's because this is work for the brave. But yeah, so we're not normal coaches. That's the title we use. But we cause permanent change. And we're doing this because this is what's necessary. We've got to heal. The world's got to heal. We've got to heal. We've got to heal. We've got to heal. Everyone's got to heal. And as you heal, what happens is this. Once you get rid of those last traces of ego, your gifts unlock. All of your gifts unlock. So, any reasons to keep the ego? Nope. Any reason to get rid of it? Fucking tons. So,
let me count the ways. Love it.
Anything else you're thinking, Elisha? Let me do a time check. I think we're about an hour.
We're over.
About an hour.
We're over. We're good.
Okay, I want to do a synopsis. Check. So, comparing the two together, we talked about the ego, that it's loud, changes its mind, lives in the past or the future, feeds on anger, shame, guilt, fear. The way to remove it is through forgiveness. Forgiveness doesn't mean that that what they did was okay. It doesn't mean you meet up with them, and it doesn't mean you tell them they're forgiven. Most people come up against blocks that they can't heal by themselves. We're here to help you with that. You can book a free call with us. You will be able to get a call within the next week or two if you book it now, and we may well be able to get you through the program, at least through the first part of the program where we heal you and we get that healing done. We don't heal you, you heal you. We just tell you how to do it and we hold your hand a lot, you know. We could at least get you through that so you go into the new year not carrying any baggage. And you will then not be passing baggage on to your kids. Basically,
we have one more question that says, is it possible for your higher self to tame your twin's ego?
Oh, hold on. Let me process that for a minute. Is it possible for your higher self to tame your twin's ego? Okay. So, you being in your higher self will mean the more time you spend in your higher self, the more time he'll spend in his higher self. At the same time, if he's been mastering the material and you've been mastering the spiritual, then it's now time for you to master the material so he can get a chance to master the spiritual. You are not to try and do anything to his ego. He is the one, he is the only person that can do the active forgiveness work. You can't do the forgiveness for him. We cannot do this work for somebody else. That is why we can't want it more than you want it. You have to want it more than us, and then we can help you.
Yep. I say we can do it with you. We can't do it for you.
Yeah. So with the twin, if you've mastered spiritual, he's mastered material. You focus on mastering material now. You know, master your business, master buying that house you want, master whatever it is that you'd like to do for the world with your twin. Start doing that now.